You should be.
You are now listening to The Final Third.
I think Pepe's so coachable.
You should be.
You just need to shake him.
You should be in prison. We build you out. We build you out to come and play this season. You're out here disgracing us. You should be in prison. You facing charges.
Hello, people, and welcome to The Final Third. Thank you for joining us again on The Final Third, man. It's been a while, but I'm happy to bring you a brand new silly season show, man. I'm here with my boy Moses for our new show during the transfer season, A Day in the Rumour Mill, where we go through some of United's biggest rumours, all what's happening in the transfer market, and we break down what we think. Do you think it's going to be a good move? Do you think it's worth it? Do we look at someone else? All looking through the rumours of silly season. But firstly, welcome to my guest Moses today. How are you feeling today, man?
Yeah, big up, Banks, big up to the Final Third as well. Thank you for having me. First
No
and foremost, make sure people check it. If you're watching now, make sure you're hitting that like and subscribe button as well. Big up my boys. But how am I feeling? That is a good question. Well, first and foremost, I'm delighted the season's over. As any United fans, I'm delighted the season's over. However, I came into this transfer window with a bit more optimism, I thought, because of the changes that we were going to have and the new restructuring in the board level. We might see a bit of a different Man United in the window, innit? But so far, it's the same old United. So, yeah, I'm not feeling too good about our transfer business. It seems like we're taking it as long as usual to get shit done. Still no transfers come in. Aston Villa got 3. I think Tottenham are. There's a lot of clubs looking around our players, the players that we're interested in, and I could tell this was going to happen. We've got no Champions League football. Our clout's fizzling away. So yeah, I'm not feeling too good right now. But I'm going to bring the vibes. I'm going to bring the energy for my boy in it. So
that's the thing right now. Like, we was hoping Ten Hag, Myrtle clearing out the old guard, Woodward leaving. You was thinking, maybe things will happen a bit smoother. Maybe things will happen a bit more efficiently. But it's still the same. We knew the free agents were gonna go, the likes of Pogba, Matic, Lingard. We knew they was gonna go. But the fact that there's been little or no movement. Again, we're still early in June, but you want these things sorted out before ball is kicked in pre-season. You want it done before pre-season even starts. You want to know who you're getting in, who's going to be here, so the manager has time to work with him. Too many times with United, like, we're getting them in a couple of days before the season starts. They're not no pre-season training. They don't know the system, and we're just vibes in it. And we need to step away from that. So I'm hoping, but there's still times. I think there's still like 20 days before pre-season starts. We need to get off to a fast start. We can't afford to hope that our players can come in and know Ten Hag system the day before the season starts. I don't want to see none of that Sancho shit when you're still negotiating on the August the 10th.
Yeah, man.
Please, no.
The thing is, Ten Hag's got a hard enough job as it is, isn't it? We can't be sending him like Andreas Pereira to be training with. I mean, we can't be
coming back from their loans where they did nothing and now they're taking up space in pre-season. How can Flamengo say we don't want it? Flamengo said there's a £7 million option, and Flamengo said, nah, keep that. Keep that. Hello, man, Tony Marshall coming back from his loan. I'll tell you one thing. Tony Marshall cannot step foot in the city of Seville again. He cannot step foot in that city.
I don't know what happened with Tony, but he's come back to United with less clout than he did when he left, didn't it? And that was bad. And he was struggling, bro. His form was. I don't think it could get any worse. But from when you hear the Seville manager being like, "Yeah, can't lie, we were expecting more," then
you get it.
Like, we're starting to see what the problem is with these signings that Man United are making, or the mentality that's at the club that's suddenly starting to breed all of these like prima donna footballers that think they're better than they actually are.
It's actually deep because, as you said, the fact that it wasn't a case of injury, or it's just we expected more. Like, he was the statement signing during the January transfer window. He was saying, "I just need the opportunity. Like, Ole wasn't giving me opportunities. I just want to go play somewhere. And it just did not happen for brother. And it's just like, wow, now you kind of got to come back to United, tail between your legs, and maybe hope that the new manager takes a liking to you. But again, it kind of feels like we need to move away from the old guard, what was there when Ole was there, what was there when Jose Mourinho was there. Give Ten Hag his own players, man. Don't let him have to work with what he's got over here. That's my problem.
Do you know what's weird? Yeah, probably like before last season started, I would have thought that no, I would have thought that Marcel, like if say Ten Hag took over that United team that we had at the start of the season, I would have thought there'll be a player that Ten Hag would like. I'm not saying we keep Martial. I'm not saying that, but like I think he's the sort of player that Ten Hag could get a tune out of. I'm not 100% hopeful of that. I'm not going to say that with my chest, because Martial's shown time and time again that you don't really want to work for the club, especially if his head ain't straight. If he ain't got the motivation to be like wearing the badge of pride and actually feels like he's loved, and he's different. A completely different Anthony Martial. I don't know if I've got the patience for it anymore, to be honest.
I feel you, man. Like, he's 26 now. Like, when we think about intensity and like when, apart from the 1920 season when he was amazing, that the season afterwards, 2021, it just felt like there was no intensity in his playing. It was just like, who's this player? Who's this striker that is playing like this when you were one of the best players in the league the season before? Like, that sort of inconsistency to go from where you were 1920 to what you were doing now is like, it's too late for us to be dealing. Like, if it was 21, 22, you could get that grace, but now it kind of needs to be people that Ten Hag can trust. I think we're going to get onto it later, but I think that's why it's going so hard for people that he's worked with and people that he knows, like Frankie de Jong. Like, I think he wants to get off to a fast start, and in order to do that, he needs to be able to rely on players that he knows.
Martial's he's not Dimitar Berbatov either. He's not the sort of player that brings other players in without having to drop super deep or go out onto the left wing. Like, Berbatov was the sort of player you weren't expecting him to press. Like, and that's cool. I was cool with that. But Tony Martial ain't the sort of player that can, with the pace he's got, man. It doesn't make any sense for him to be languishing around on the pitch doing nothing. Yeah, let's get into it, man.
Quickly get some comments. Heard your son in Vanderville. What a throwback name.
What
a throwback name. Vanderville. That was Louis Van Gaal times. McFred again. Don't even play with that one. Homeless man's Jimmy Brian. This Nathan has been calling Martial out for years and years and years. So fair enough. Big up my bro over at Eagle Eye Football again. If you lot don't know about them, make sure you take a look. Belgium are losing already. Lukaku text, man. Question: do you think Ten Hag played a part in Ralph's sacking? I'll let you answer that first, and then I'll give my thoughts.
I think there's a couple of reasons why Ralph didn't last very long, and to be honest, it all started coming out towards the end of the season. That all of this stuff about him using Lars Konetka from CSK Moscow to watch games on Sky.
I heard about that. There was my man coaching from thousands of miles away.
Because I was wondering, what's our man's doing with the little earpod in his ear? Like, man, what are you listening to?
Man's listening to podcasts on the touchline, fam.
He's got Man United in his ear. But obviously now we found out that he's on speed dial to Lars Konetka getting tactical advice when my man's right on the bench watching the game. But anyway, I think the writing was on the wall for Ralph. I can't lie. The players didn't buy in, but I think ultimately the decision was made by the club a couple of weeks ago. Maybe not a couple of weeks, maybe like a month and a half ago. But I definitely I do agree. I do think Ten Hag was right to not keep Ralph, especially if he's going to be using him as like a confidant or some sort of a consultant for the transfer strategies. He's got to be making sure that he's not upsetting the apple cart and not upsetting the players that are still there, because more time we're not going to be getting the 10 signings that he wanted, or that Ralph Rangnick was saying towards the end of the year. 10 signings, that's a ridiculous budget. Unless we're buying players from the Championship, I don't see how we could be doing that with the budget we've got. So I think there's a lot of reasons that Ralph wasn't saying the right things in the press conferences. They're good things for fans, But in terms of the way the club needs to be managed and the club needs to manage this transfer window, more importantly, we got to keep our cards close to our chest. Do you know what I mean? And we can't be saying that these players are duds because we got to try and sell these players at the same time. So I think Ten Hag was, I think he definitely had some part to play, and he probably he helped to push him out the door. Can't lie.
Yeah, I think Ten Hag did play a big role because he seems like a very, very strongly opinionated manager where he's, again, every club he's been to, he's left his imprint and he knows what he wants. And again, Ragnick has had his thoughts on this squad and he's had his ideas on what should happen. You talked about the 10 signings and he's talked about the fact that there needs to be more intensity. And I just think there was just there's a clash where I think Ten Hag didn't necessarily value Ragnick's input enough. I'm not saying he doesn't rate him as a technical advisor or as a consultant, but I don't think he valued his input enough for it to override his beliefs. I think Ten Hag is very strong in his own beliefs, in his own what he believes needs to happen at Manchester United, and I don't think that needs to coincide with Ralph Ragnick's opinion. Again, this is where United sign up Ralph Ragnick as a consultant back in November, December times. They hadn't really thought of a plan for who the manager was going to be, whether the manager would want to work with Ragnick. And I think in the end, it just became a thing where you've got a manager now that's got his own plan, his own ideas. They don't necessarily coincide with Ragnick's. Again, one other thing I think Ten Hag would have sworn that he doesn't like with Ragnick, and this is just my personal opinion, that Ten Hag has talked about the fact that the leaks need to stop. Like, there's too much noise coming from United and too many people know what's happening with United too quickly. Like, especially last season. I think last season was the worst it's ever been.
The worst it's been for a minute, can't lie.
It's the worst because you were getting noise every single week and it all looked like reliable noise. That's the problem. And I think and as much as we as fans love the fact that Ralph was out in the players and he wasn't afraid to say these things about the players, I think Ten Hag knew it's a risk with Ralph's mouth. Like, he wants to keep things quiet, and Ralph has a reputation to just let it go. So I don't think that really, again, their ethos is, I don't think that really meshed. So again, that's just my personal opinion. I don't think those two things would have meshed long term. Ralph wants to open his mouth. Ten Hag wants to do it the other way.
Yeah, no, I did hear that Ralph was a big fan of Ten Hag's, so I think he was pushing for United to sign him. I think I can't lie, I think that whole consultancy thing disappeared a long time ago with Ralph. I think that went out the window as soon as the performances didn't reflect sort of the expectation that Man United had with what Ralph could bring in. But to be honest, I was kind of
that if Ralph's performances were better, his input would have been valued a bit more.
I think if he got top four, I think we're talking Ralph Ragnick as consultant to the board to Erik Ten Hag. But I think ultimately his failures were you couldn't hide from them, man. You can't trust the man to he literally everybody at the club hated him, man. From what I'm hearing, everyone at the club didn't like him, had a problem. So you got to get people like that out of the club in the same way you got to get the Jesse Lingards, the Paul Pogba's out. It's the same energy. People who are toxic, fair enough, Ralph didn't come in and start the problems. But when you're getting toxicity around the club, all these headlines, you just need, right now, we need to just calm it down and move in silence. You know what I mean? So,
I'm not going to get us to answer this question now, but I want you to think about it. We'll answer it towards the end. Again, if you have any questions, just throw them into the chat and we'll try and answer them towards the end. If you were to pick one player from us, who would it be? We won't answer it now, but have a think about it. Let's get into some of the transfer targets that we're being linked to. I think there's only one place we're going to start today because of the way the news is broke. Darwin Núñez, Darwinism. We're talking a man, the striker, was so heavily linked to United. He's one of the few strikers on the market that we've seen heavily linked to United. We've seen a lot of links, but none of them has been as heavy to United as Núñez have been. But apparently he's looking as if he's going to be making his way over to Anfield instead of Old Trafford. It is looking like Liverpool are going to tie up a deal for Darwin Núñez. I want to know your thoughts. Was you looking forward to seeing him at Old Trafford? Was you not really a fan? Because there's been mixed reviews across social media, especially. What was your thoughts?
Do you know what I've seen? I've seen a couple of his games live. I saw the games Benfica had against Liverpool, and he impressed me, man. I can't lie, he impressed me. But the numbers they were getting banded around. I'm not on spending £80 million. Like going back to what Ralph was saying, bro. There's a lot of shit that needs to happen right now at this club. You can't be spending £80 million on any player. And that goes for a lot of other people looking to get as well. We can't be blowing our budget on an unproven one season wonder. Well, it could be a one season wonder. So for me, Liverpool take him. You can take that risk because you got a squad already. Right now, we need to be strengthening elsewhere. And yeah, who thought? I was kind of looking forward to it because it seemed like he was going to come to United. But really and truthfully, if I'm thinking with my thinking brain on now, nah, man, I'm happy he's not going to come. And look, who would have thought it? Darwin wasn't the natural selection after all.
We're talking bars at the final fan. Are you dumb? Are you dumb?
Time for evolution, fam. Time for evolution.
Oh my god. Hey. When I think about Nunes, yeah, I can't lie. I like his profile. I like the idea of him, and I like the fact that he's a goal banger. I like the fact that his currency is goals. Again, when you look at his all-round play and some of the technical ability, I'm not too sold on it. And again, I feel like he will probably encounter problems in some games because of that. He's not the most technical, but I do feel like he's got some moves. I do feel like because his main cut, he knows where the goal is. I don't think many people are going to doubt that he knows where the goal is. But I think you hit the nail on the head with it, where we're just in a position where we cannot afford to splurge £80 million of our budget on a striker. When I literally looked at our midfield options on the website, it ranks as Andres Pereira, Scott McTominay, Fred, James Garner, Bruno Fernandes, and Donny van der Beek. That is genuinely that we could genuinely make an argument that's a bottom six midfield in the Premier League. Probably, I only think Fred, maybe Bruno, maybe Donny van der Beek at a push. Donny van der Beek couldn't even get into the Everton team towards the end of the season. Maybe 3 of those midfielders get into a top 10 side. The rest of them, probably not. Probably not. It's like we cannot afford to sponge most of our budget on a striker when our midfield is absolutely dire. Like we desperately need 2 to 3 midfielders this very transfer window. Like 2 to 3 midfielders desperately. So I would have liked to see it. Like if the price was right, and in another world maybe where we could be a bit more flexible with the budget, I wouldn't be against signing a certified booter, because although we've got Ronaldo, we can't rely on him for 40 plus games a season. Like he needs to have somebody else up there with him. So I think 80 million is just too much right now, but that doesn't change the fact that I do think we need another attacker to go up there with us, with Ronaldo.
Yeah, I hear that, and to be honest, we've got a couple players in the youth team that look all right, but no one that I think can come in right away and contribute. I think the important thing is we need to, before we address the striker, and I know this isn't probably the way the club are looking at it. I think the club are prioritising the striker first. I think we get our other business done and we see what sales we can make. Just be a bit clever in the market, innit? What was pissing me off was in January when we could have got that Julian Alvarez kid. We didn't get it for 17 million. And all the rumours of going towards United signing him, then Man City getting right at the end. So that's what pisses me off. And those sort of signings that can learn under Ronaldo. We do need a striker. I can't lie. We need a striker that can learn from Ronaldo in these couple of years that we've got him, however long he's going to be. But man, Darwin Núñez ain't the one. There's better out there, I'm sure. But
yeah.
Let's move on to another player that we're being so strongly linked with. An old friend of Eric Ten Hag's, Frankie de Jong. Again, this is another player with a big transfer price on him. Big price tag on him. They're talking 80 million euros-ish in order to sign him. It's sort of similar to the Darwin Núñez money. But the difference is it seems as if Ten Hag is insistent, like he desperately wants him. Barcelona need the cash and they look like they're ready to part ways with him. Is this a deal that you think needs to get done for United, or should we be looking somewhere else?
Do you know what's mad, Banks? Like, if this was last summer and we'd already had the squad that we had last summer and we were looking to just make one signing to get that defensive midfielder we've all been crying out for, then I'd be like, yeah, go for it. But spend the money. We're moving a year behind. Like Sancho was a year behind. This defensive midfielder was multiple years behind. We can't be spending alien on Frank Young. Barcelona are right now in terms of their finances. We gotta exploit that. We're the only club interested in Frankie de Jong. Why are we being held to ransom by Barcelona, a club that need to sell players if they're going to get Lewandowski, if they're going to get Kessié, they're going to get all of these free signings that they're looking to get, or not all free, but if they're looking to make these signings, they need to get rid of players. So if I'm Man United right now, I'm saying here's 60 million euros with some add-ons based on performances. And if you don't take it, we'll look elsewhere. Because realistically, they need to sell in it. But we can't be like, all right, can we do 70? Like we can't be spending big P's. We can't go over 60 million pounds, in my opinion. 65 max, nothing more than that. But we need to start playing some mind games with Barcelona and start focusing on other players. Because if they start moving and start acting like, oh no, we can be demanding these price tags when they need to sell, then we need to call their bluff. But ultimately, yeah, Frankie de Jong, top quality player, and I would love to have him at United, but he doesn't even want to come. So
my thing is,
why are we wasting so much time on this player who doesn't even want to come? All this money.
That's it. But at the same time, we talk about helping Ten Hag get off to the best start possible. I think if he's so insistent on de Jong, like no matter how, it's for me this one in comparison to Nunes is a bit different because we want to help Ten Hag get off to the best start possible. So for me, midfield is also an area of need that we need to address, and it's a player that is crucial to the way Ten Hag wants to play. For me, despite the price tag, and again the price tag is paining me because 80 million euros for de Jong is steep. But for me, it's one of the deals that we just have to get across. Like when your manager's insisting on this player and he's saying, I need this player in order for us to be successful. It's kind of one of those ones where, and again, we're talking about kind of building this side and helping build a side. It's one of those ones where I'm thinking, you have to just kind of go out and help your manager be successful in this case. Like it's his first transfer window and we want to get off to a fast-ish start. Again, we're not going to be able to get everybody this transfer window, but you want to help your new manager get off to the right start. I think you have to back him with one signing here where you want him, he wants him like this, you kind of have to get him. But I agree where it's so pricey. I feel like we can do business where we don't get him at that price.
Yeah, I mean, look, for me, what one player that I think we should be looking at, another one of Rangnick's boys, but Haidaro's he's available for like 30 mil. Like if all we got to do is start being linked to another player, that's all we need to do. Start being linked to Haidara instead of de Jong, 50 million euros less. Then they'll start turning their heads again, right? Because right now Barcelona need to sell. Let's reiterate that point.
That's the thing. Barcelona need to get rid. They need to get rid.
Yeah, and for me as well, one player that I think, in terms of ability, could get close to Frankie de Jong in terms of passing and in terms of vision is James Garner. So I want to see him. I want to see him under Ten Hag. I want to see what Ten Hag can do to him instead of always having to look abroad. If we made a £30 million signing in Haidara and then we allow Jimmy Garner to start pushing forward, to start getting more game times, because we've seen him play for Nottingham Forest. You saw his assist against who are they again? In the final, Huddersfield. Yeah, we saw that assist. Like we saw the way he's been balling out all year. So for me, I'd rather Ten Hag looks at him. We make a quick little cheap sign and £36 million release clause. Get that done, and then if de Jong's really on, like if de Jong really wants to come to this club, then we'll find out. And if Barcelona have to sell, then we'll get him for the cheap. But we can't be. I'm looking to be like efficient with the money. That I don't want us to be blowing our whole budget on Frankie de Jong. From what I'm hearing, it's like 120 to 150 million. If you spend 80 million, That's what 40 to 70 million left to buy. We got a lot more players to buy. We need to sign. So I think let's be smart. Let's see what Ten Hag can do from like a tactical perspective, rather than just doing old United tactics where we get a marquee player. Right now, we don't need marquee players. We need team players that can help with the system right now. And I know that De Jong can do that, but there's other players out there that can, I'm sure.
I feel you. I think, again, the key is to make other signings as well. And again, for me, the first focus has to be midfield. There's other midfielders out there, and again, if it's only one midfielder we signed this summer, I'm automatically classing it as a failure of a summer. Automatically, like we need 2 or 3 quality midfielders in this summer. So if we go out and get that second midfielder, whether we're being linked to guys like Haidara, Sangare, Ruben Neves, whoever it is, and I think there's quality out there that we can get. Once we get that first midfielder,
we can't. Neves is 60, 70 M's as well. Like, we just gotta stay
again, that's somebody that wants to, like, he's desperate to leave Wolves as well. He wants to go. There's no way Wolves can hold him for 60, 70 million. They've been trying to, like, he's been trying to go, and nobody's really been coming in for him. There's no way they're holding out for 70 million. But if you go out and get that second midfielder that's not Frankie de Jong, and they see, oh, they've actually started spending money, like the budget isn't being reserved all for Frankie de Jong, I think then Barcelona start to lose their cool. Like, oh, if they don't, like, they don't have anybody else to sell for that sort of money in their squad. Who else can they really let go of that's going to get them 60, 70 million? Nobody else.
No, they've signed everyone else on contracts now.
That's it. Once they start seeing that, oh, their budget's starting to go down, like, if we don't meet them in the middle, they won't be able to sign them anyway. They're gonna start getting nervous, and they're gonna start coming to the negotiation table. That's the thing. We need to bring them to the negotiation table. We need to force them to come to the negotiation table. But right now,
bro, we need to put deadlines in place. You see what Dortmund were doing to us a couple of years ago for Sancho. Yeah. We need to put deadlines in place to say, look, if you're going to sell De Jong, we need to agree by this point. Otherwise, we're moving on, because we can't. Like, for all we know, Frankie de Jong ain't leaving Barcelona. This is all just like some weird tactical ploy to just make us long out our transfer window. But I wouldn't be surprised. But right now, the way United are moving, I don't know. I felt like it's a conspiracy the way we've been moving, because we've been saying we're going to do this, we're saying we're going to do that, and then when push comes to shove, and we start seeing what we're actually going to do, we don't do anything. And like, all of these transfers, all of these rumors have been circulating for months, 2-3 months. We said we were going to get our business done early this year. April, we were getting rumors, all these Nunez, we didn't hit De Jong for a while, I can't lie, but we need to get our business done early. We need to put deadlines in place and say, by this point, we want to have our midfielders sorted, we want to have our new striker, we want to have a right winger, we want to have a fullback that can play centre back or right back. That's what we need to be doing. We need to have deadlines in place, and Ten Hag ain't going to be happy. And I don't want Ten Hag starting his tenure at United on some negative flex, because right now it's going to be negative, bro. Like, if he comes in right now to train his team, I feel bad.
That's it. Because, as you say, deadlines, like, it's time to force some of these teams' hands. Like, because they think we're going to negotiate into the long night and wait until transfer deadline day, everybody's ready to play chicken to see who folds first. Once you start setting, like, again, if United have actually changed, as you said, as much as I want United to get their first choice targets, because I feel that that's the best way to move forward and help a new manager. If we haven't got our second option, or our second option, third option, who we want to get in, is making me think it's less about the system. There's less of a system in place where these players can come into the system and help us out, or it makes me feel like we're just chasing the big names and chasing signings, and that's what the old United is supposed to be, not what the new United is supposed to be. So again, set your deadlines. Let them know if it's not happening by this specific date, we move on to another target. We need to be doing this, and again,
you got to be ruthless, bro. You got to be ruthless in the market. If someone's saying too much, they're asking for too much money. It's like us going. We're going to Harrods right now. We're shopping for players in Harrods when we need to be going to Peckham Market looking for players, bro. We can't be going looking around Stone Island and that, bro. We can't afford that right now. and also they'll look dead on us as well because we'll just look like a homeless person in some designer shit.
No, you're not rocking the drip with no confidence because you know you're trying to return it straight away.
You're wearing
No
Crocs in your Stone Island, like it's not a flex.
Let me get some comments up here. Ricky says feels like a lot of players use United as a bargaining chip. Hey, that's been it for years. What one report?
Ramos.
Henry Winter
said, Ramos.
Huh? Ramos. Hey, I swear to God, I thought that was happening. I thought he saw me a nice dream. Oh my God, I was in my living room. I remember his mum said there's no way Ramos is leaving Real Madrid. I was just like, bun his mum. What does his mum? He's coming to United. Mum, mommy, quiet with all that. He's coming in. Quiet with all that. Then I see he signed a new deal. I was just, hey, he just realized he'd been played. Oh my God.
But that's what we look like, though. We look like the club, the rich club in the Premier League that's desperate. Because all these other clubs look at the Premier League. You saw what La Liga were trying to do with the CVC stuff, where they're trying to get more money generated into La Liga and around the clubs. Like, they look at the Premier League with envy, and they look at Man United like we're stupid. They're literally looking at us like we're stupid. We know Barcelona need to sell, but yet again, we're here and we're not putting our foot down. We're not saying, "Hey, Real Madrid or Barcelona, take 50 million euros, or we're going to buy someone else." We're just still here being like, "Oh, what about if we put 5 million euros in an add-ons?" Or like, we can't be doing that anymore, man. We just need to be in the roots of our priorities set, and then just don't. No matter who, if Messi gets dangled in front of us, if Mbappe, or do you know what I mean? If anyone gets dangled in front of us, we say no. We're good. We've got our plan, and we're sticking to it. But as always, we find out Frankie de Jong's available. Heads turned already. A head's gone. Our whole summer's now focused around Frankie de Jong. The player doesn't even want to come to United. We've got to convince him. I'm not saying we're too big to convince players to come to United, because right now we're in the mud. But we can't be spending this much time on Frankie de Jong. It's been nearly a month.
I want to move on to not a transfer coming in, but a potential area where United could improve. There's been a lot of talk about our number one between the sticks. It's been a lot of live call for De Gea recently. A lot of live call, whether it was Luis Enrique or David De Gea. Everyone's making sure, hey, right now, brothers just not levels. Are you of the camp? Because there's still a lot of people out there that believe De Gea can play a big role for United. He's still one of the best keepers in the world. He's still one of the best shot stoppers in the world. Then there's obviously the other camp that believe he maybe doesn't have the skills needed to play at a top level at the top club, whether it's his footwork or his distribution or it's his catching. What are your thoughts? Does United need to upgrade in that area, or is De Gea good enough to be our number one?
Look, do you know what? There's a couple things to consider here. Yeah, you got to bear in mind. First of all, it depends on what Erik ten Hag wants from his goalkeeper, whether he wants to be building up. Because I think it's completely fair. It's up to if Luis Enrique is saying all this stuff and saying this is how he wants to play, then look, I'm not here to argue with the Spanish national manager in it. Doesn't affect me. Doesn't affect me whether De Gea plays at the World Cup this summer. Because to be honest, for me, David De Gea and Cristiano Ronaldo are the reason we didn't get relegated last season. Because for best believe, I think we would have got. I think we conceded the same. I think we conceded more goals than Burnley last year. And bear in mind, David De Gea is was our player of the season. For me, he was our player of the season alongside Cristiano Ronaldo. They should have shared that. But I can't forget. I can't suddenly start saying, "Oh, David De Gea needs to go. He needs to go. He can't pass. He hasn't got the right position, and he just clears it. He doesn't know how to distribute the ball." When my man is distributing the ball to Harry Maguire and to Fred and to Scott McTominay, I'd be confused as well. But I'd be booting it non-stop, bro. I'd be get it up the field. So look, I don't think It depends. Look, it depends on what Ten Hag wants. From what I've seen of Onana, my man plays as a centre back pretty much. Like he's not on his goal line. And also, what Marcel Bout, or I can't remember who Louis van Gaal's assistant was. He was
the goalie
coaches. He
that
was
had a
saying
lot
some
of
mad stuff.
criticism for De Gea.
Yeah. He was saying mad stuff about David De Gea, and I was like, "Raw, that." I mean, that makes a lot of sense when you watch Man United play now. He doesn't want to learn. He doesn't want to change to adapt to a different style of play. So for me, it's about understanding what Erik Ten Hag wants. I'm not necessarily of the mind of that he can't pass it out from the back. I still definitely think that in terms of the players that we look to distribute the ball out to, that needs to improve. Our position needs to improve. I've seen Harry Maguire doing flipping slaloms back towards the goal, like just slowly, like a snake moving back to its little nest. Like I see, my man just we invite pressure. We don't clear it when we need to. I think if we get actual strategy and actual like some tactical foundations to pass it out from the back, I think it could be different. Because I don't think it's that difficult for a goalkeeper to play out from the back. And I might be being a bit naive, but in terms of the passes that he's got to make, they're simple passes. They're not like chips. They're passing it side to side. You just need to get the players in the right position.
I can't lie. I agree with your point where De Gea played a role in us not conceding as more goals than we did already, because we conceded, I think, 55 plus, which, as you said, was more than Burnley. So, like, it wasn't a great season defensively for us, but he definitely came up clutch with a couple of big moments throughout the season. But for me, I am of the camp where I just believe this guy, he's not a modern keeper, and he's not what we need going forward. Again, I always value the times like there was generally a point where his shot stopping ability outweighed the fact that he wasn't great with his feet, or he couldn't claim high crosses. Like, for me, the fact that he could genuinely keep you in the game throughout the season with his saves, it outweighed the fact that he couldn't pass very well. He couldn't claim crosses. But for me, his shot stopping ability has dropped. He's not at that 2018, 2017, 2016 level where he was a brick wall. He's not at that level anymore in terms of shot stopping. So all his other flaws get like blown up even more. Like when I see him so uncomfortable with the ball at the back, like if you pass on the ball, it's very likely, if you pass on the ball and there's a opposition player running towards him, it's very likely he's going out for throwing to the other team. That's my problem with him. Again, and we talk about crosses, whether it's from corners. This has been a problem since he came back in 2012, 2011. Like, there was a time when Sir Alex Ferguson took him out of the team because he generally just couldn't come and claim crosses. Like, and in the Premier League,
Lindegaard, what's his name?
Lindegaard. You remember the throwback game? Like, Lindegaard was rubbish as well, but he had to put Lindegaard in for a little bit because De Gea was generally suffering, and he hasn't improved enough in them aspects as well. So all of these things, like,
sorry, no, I was just gonna say, but for me, look, this is priorities season, isn't it? We got to be thinking about priorities right now. We get rid of De Gea. I don't want another I don't want us to be. I can't be here for that right now, man. We need to sort out. We got bigger fish to fry right now.
That's it on foot. Like, in a dream world, for me, he'd be gone this season. Honestly, in a dream world, he'd be gone this summer as well. But I think there's just other places that just need dire attention in the team. Like, as we said, the state of our squad is cataclysmic. Like, I don't say that, like, our squad is in a cataclysmic state right now, and it needs major cosmetic surgery. So, like, as much as I feel like the hair needs to be replaced, there's other places that need surgery before that. So I think Ten Hag is going to stick with him for a season, but I can definitely see him getting replaced next season once. If it's the case where this summer we're able to address a few positions. Again, we talk about the fact that United's always a season behind, so it could end up being 2024 where we finally replace the hair. Like, that's generally the way United works. So I wouldn't be surprised if it takes us too long to replace the hair. But again, just because of the fact that there's other places that need to be addressed first, I can imagine him Ten Hag sticking with the hair for one more season.
Do you think would you be happy if Ten Hag put Dean Henderson ahead of De Gea? Where are you in terms of like who should be number one?
So back in the what was it 2020 2021 season, I was definitely Dean Henderson for number one. Like I definitely thought he should have gotten a chance, and he did get a chance. And for me, he didn't do too badly. I felt like going into 2021 2022, he would have been our number one if he didn't get COVID. He obviously got COVID. De Gea stepped in and he didn't give up the place since then. Now we're going into this new season. I think it's going to be a bit difficult for him off the back of another season where he hasn't played much to now be our number one. If we're going to give another keeper the number one jersey, I think it probably should be a keeper that's ready to step in, has had that match practice and is like ready to step in. Dean Henderson probably needs a loan or a transfer away where he can be a certified number one, because he is a number one in the Premier League, no doubt about it for me. Like he's definitely a Premier League quality number one.
He kept Sheffield United up on his runs pretty much, man. Remember, as soon as he left Sheffield United, who came in? Was it Ramsdale? He got relegated.
Ramsdale, that's it. Like he was quality for Sheffield United, absolutely quality. Whether it was in the Championship or Premier League, it was quality for them. So he just needs to get back to playing like top level football. Whether we have like a buyback clause or we're able to, if it's a loan, if he develops correctly, hopefully he comes back and can be our number one after this season. Who knows? But this season, I wouldn't give him the number one. I wouldn't do it.
My only concern with Henderson, I think I love the way he comes out of his goal, man. I gotta say, I think he's got the makings of a top goalkeeper. His shot stopping's good. I think his decision making's a bit lax. Like he can. I remember, was it the League Cup? Yeah, it was like what? Was it the League Cup this year when he I think he flapped at something or like he made.
I think I know which one you're talking about. It wasn't FA Cup. It was
West Ham.
Last season, actually. No. I think you're talking about AC Milan in the Europa League.
Yeah. That was a cup. No, that wasn't this year. But like in terms of it, like he's young, I appreciate that. But another thing that's a concern for me is the fact there's all these rumors saying that he was the leak at the club. So I think if there's any truth in that, we need to find out whether that's the case. If that's the case,
I think it was true to be. I think he was probably the leak. Again, there's been a couple. There's a couple guys that just plainly wasn't happy because it felt like Ragnick or Ole just had certified number ones that just couldn't. Think about Eric Bailly. There was numerous leaks that he wasn't happy that Maguire couldn't do anything to get dropped. Like he couldn't get dropped whatsoever. And I think
me too, bro. I'm with him. I'm with Bailly on that. I can't lie.
And I think Henderson was in the same camp where he was pissed that De Gea couldn't be dropped and he couldn't even get a sniff. So yeah, I wouldn't be. I think he was probably one of the leaks at least. So again, he probably needs to go away from United, play some football, get some confidence, get some happiness back in him, and then maybe he could come back and be a United number one. There's a few fringe transfers, a few weird ones that flew about. I want to get your opinion on. Just a short one. Just a short one. N'Golo Kante, yay or nay? Would you take him at Old Trafford?
Depends on the money, to be honest. I'm not against Kante. I think Kante for me is still one of the best. He plug a hole for us. He is getting on a bit. He's 30. I think he's 31.
31.
Yeah.
Let's say the 32 million that Chelsea paid for him back in 2017. That's the price on him. Would you pay that?
Take it. I can't lie, bro. I'll take it. I would. If that's the money we're talking and it's not going to be 50, 60, 70 million, I'd take Kante in a heartbeat, bro.
He's only got 1 year left on his deal, to be fair. Like, so I don't think the price tag is going to be too crazy. I don't think the price tag is going to be too crazy.
I don't want another Matic, man, where we get a player who's past his best, comes into the club, starts getting injuries.
That's genuinely the risk, because you look at Kante and like on his best days, and he had a couple of best days last season. Like on his best days, he's still flipping amazing, and he's still top. But with Kante again, like the muscle injuries that just plagued him over the last 2 years. Even everyone forgets the Champions League winning season. Like it was the second half of the season, even specifically the last couple of months where he really like shone. But before that, he was getting injured, inconsistent form. it was very much a case where last couple of months of the season he started to show out again. But again, it's been the same thing this season where injuries, inconsistent form throughout the season have just plagued him. You don't want to matter.
If he comes into our squad and our medical department, I don't even know what happens with our medical department. We get injuries all the time. He's not. Yeah, no, I don't think I take him. I'm taking Hadara still, man.
I feel you. Ericsson on the free transfer.
Yeah, 100%. Great signing. Clever. No, like it'll be low wages. Will be low for me. Low risk because obviously he's got his heart problem, but low risk. No transfer fee involved. Minimal wages. Top quality player. This is a player that Man United have been sniffing around when he was at Tottenham. I was disappointed when he went to Inter because I wanted him at United. Can't lie. But yeah, free transfer, no brainer for me because you know them games when Bruno's been just absolutely shagging it, just like not even looking where he's passing it and just like instinctively just booting it like, and then that was working in his first season, but last season it was just not happening for my man. So he needs to know that we got quality on the bench that can come on, not Jesse Lingard who's just going to be sitting on the bench all day.
Facts. I want to go back to. In fact, I'll ask about one more player that we've been linked to before I ask some of the starred questions. Pau Torres, one that's been linked to Tottenham and Manchester United. I was going to ask about Bastoni, but his agent revealed today that he's going to stay at Inter Milan. He's happy in Italy. He's not trying to come to England. So Pau Torres is one that looks like he's ready to leave Villarreal. What are your thoughts? Left centre back role.
He's a sort of sending back I'd welcome. I like him. I like his profile. He's tall. He looks like he should be slower than he actually is. He's left-footed. Likes to pass it out from the back. He's the sort of player that I trust on the ball as well. We saw we played Villarreal earlier this season, innit? I think it was a triangle with him, Capu. I can't remember who the other centre back is for Villarreal now, but. Their man just kept. They were playing at Old Trafford. They just kept possession the whole game. We barely got a sniff. We were lucky. Wait, I think your mic's gone. But we were lucky to get anything out of that game. We took a last minute Ronaldo Suze in it. But I think Pau Torres is the sort of player that can definitely do a job for United. But I think the money we're looking at as well could be quite high. It's 55 mil or something like that. And I think Tottenham are stealing a march a little bit because they've got. They're going to do a little swap with Lo Celso, and they think they can get 30 million off the price tag. So it looks like it's Tottenham's to lose. It's Tottenham's player to lose for me. Thanks, you're muted, I think. No, all good. There you go.
I asked a question that was asked by Eagle Eye Football earlier. Question: no, not that one. What player would you take from Crystal Palace in the summer?
I could have told you this right from the start, like literally from the top of the show. If you asked me that and we just went straight into it, I could have told you. But this will also lead on to a player that I'm really, really, really desperate for us to sign. But from Crystal Palace, Michael Elise, 110 million%. My man's he's not even reached anywhere near his ceiling yet. But he's still balling out for Crystal Palace. He's had a bit of bad luck with injuries. But for me, Michael Elise is a superstar in the making. We bring him to Man United. It plugs our hole because for some reason, we signed Jadon Sancho to play right wing and we only play him left wing. We need someone who's only going to play on that right wing and is left-footed, can cut in, give some balance to our attack again. And for me, Michael Elise is probably he's in my top 3 for that right wing position. I can't lie.
Yeah, no, Michael Elise he's quality still, and it was just so natural, even from the championship times. Like you could see, you just like it when a footballer's comfortable on the ball, and he just any situation he's in, if you put players around him, he's ready to do 1-2s, get the ball back. Quick thinker. That's it. Like even though right wing's such a problem for us in terms of the player I'd pick, even though right wing's like is an issue that needs to be sorted for us, and I think Elise would actually feel it pretty well. Even though I'm not like I think I'd want a bit more. If Jadon Sancho is going to be on one wing, I think we need a bit more of an explosive player on the other wing. But Like if you have Michael Elise in your squad, like that's going to be great combinations regardless, and I think he'd be a quality addition to the squad. But if I think about Crystal Palace's squad right now, the player I might actually take is Mark Guehi. You know, I think Mark Guehi next to Rafael Varane would be such a flipping wavy partnership. Like Guehi's the bruiser, like the physical, like he's gonna get into all the battles, and when I watch him play for Crystal Palace, he wins his battles as well. As a centre back, you don't want to go up against him, and then you've got Varane as the slightly more classier defender, a bit better with the ball, able to bring it out of defense as well. Guehi's good at bringing it out of defense as well, so I think those two will just mesh really well. Like if I could take one player for Crystal Palace right now, it might actually be Mark Guehi. It might actually be Mark, because I think he's quality. In terms
all
of
I'm going to say though on Mark Guehi is that how much is Crystal Palace signing from Chelsea? Like 20 something?
18 million.
18. So you know you're paying at least with English tax as well. We're paying.
This is for me. I'm not thinking about really.
Yeah, I hear that. No,
I'm thinking about squad fit.
I rate him. I like his profile. I like the way he's commanding. He's a commanding centre back, but yeah, I think we could have. It's just annoying because I don't think I'm not against them. I'm thinking more from like practical reasons. Like why didn't we try and sign him last year? But yeah, man, he's a top player. I also really like Mitchell. No, is it Mitchell? Yeah, Mitchell.
Mitchell.
Harry Mitchell. He's quality. I really like him. Can sort us out right back as well. Who they play? Who they got left back? I'm just thinking.
Left back is Tariq Mitchell. Right back is
Johnson.
Nathaniel Klein.
No, that's West Ham. Nathaniel. All right, yeah. No, I'm sticking with you.
What's messed up about United is that I'd say the reason we don't sign the likes of Michael Elise and the Mark Guehis is because we don't, like, if you've only performed in the Championship, it's not good enough. Like, you need to have performed at the top level. We went to the Championship and Daniel flipping James. So we can't even say we don't shop in the Championship. We shop in the Championship, we shop for rubbish. There's quality in the Championship. There's quality there. There's quality in the Championship. We just don't like a top team.
That's what I say right now. Right,
Brennan Johnson.
Brennan Johnson. I don't know how there's not rumours of. I think he obviously stay for one more year. If not, Forest get relegated, he's not going back to the Championship. I can guarantee you. I say
there's quality players within the Championship. We just don't look at the quality. That's our problem. But again, this has been the final third, bringing you a day in the Rumour Mill. Thank you very much for my friend Moses from Wonderball, Weird and Wonderball. I need you to plug your socials, plug all of the socials, so you can let the people know where to find you.
Yes, bro. Thank you, Banksy, man. This is it's been a pleasure. I can't lie. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in. But yeah, you can catch me normally on Weird and Wonderball. Definitely will be back on the final third again. This is too much of a vibe not to be here again. But yeah, Weird and Wonderball, Jamie Vardy's favorite fucking show. Yeah, man. We got all the content going on right now. You can catch us on our Instagram, WN Wonderball, as you see down there. On YouTube it's Weird and Wonderball, Twitter WN Wonderball as well. But yeah, busy summer ahead, isn't it, man? United got a lot of business to be doing, so best believe that we'll be chopping it up again very, very soon.
Facts. I've been your host, Banks. Make sure you subscribe to the final third. This has been the first episode of A Day in the Rumour Mill. Make sure you like the channel. Make sure you like the video. All of that good stuff. Have a lovely evening. Let's go watch Love Island. And good night.
You are now listening to The Final Third.
I think Pepe's so comfortable.
Wow, you should be in
just need to shake him.
You should be in prison. We bailed you out. We bailed you out to come and play this season. You're out here disgracing us. You should be